Hi.
Going down.
By the way, you posted on Facebook just the single lyric from Unchained. Blue-eyed murderer in a size 5 dress.
In a size 5 dress.
And I have not been able to get that song out of my head since I saw that post.
Wow.
That was a solid DLR. Do you go in with it or do you go out with it?
I go in with it.
Yeah.
If I'm not drinking.
Okay, how does it affect it?
We used to do Ice Cream Man.
Nice.
And it was like sort of a signature cover where I'd slam a beer and do the whole song.
Yeah.
And so
Dedicate
after
one
a
to the
few shots
ladies
of
now.
Jaeger, I can do the outward one.
Mm-hmm. Very nice.
More normally in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was like a little trick I learned from. I don't remember who that singer was. I was like, "Oh my God, that's how you do it."
It was
because I'm not naturally a tenor. Anyway. I'm not naturally a high voice singer. I can get my scales kind of up there, but like I was like, well, how the fuck does he have like 2 notes happening? And that's how.
It was Inward Singing by Tenacious D.
Yes. Welcome to Inward Singing by Tenacious D.
And I'm always fucking singing. And
It's a tribute.
Singing, and I'm always fucking singing. And I'm always fucking singing. Because I'm always fucking singing. Anyway, I love the D. I do. And I mean Tenacious D, but I also, never mind.
Yes.
He loves the D.
D-E-G. No, that's not right. That wasn't right.
I'll see myself out.
Welcome to 2 Shots and a Royalty Check, brought to you by Venmo, Your Money, Your Move, and Liquid Death, Murder Your Thirst. Let's get back into it.
So
that's funny. Do that in class with somebody. You go D F A sharp.
Oh,
anyone in the class would be like, I don't think those were the right notes at all. Actually, just like pick notes and just sing intervals.
Yeah, it's like, have you ever seen the movie Along Came Polly, where Philip Seymour Hoffman is playing basketball and he's a terrible basketball player, and he just goes, nothing but net, and he's just missing every single fucking note. Like every single shot he's taking, he's missing. And it is the funniest thing ever. He's like just making all these positive, like, and that's gonna 3 points, and just fucking off in the distance. It's gone. It's amazing.
I used to play basketball with a guy who every single shot he took, he would be like, for the win. And it was like, dude, we're playing the 25, and it was like the 3rd shot for the win.
I love
there
that.
It is.
It's like NBA
Swish!
Jam shit,
And
you
just
know?
Donk.
That's amazing. For the win. That's going to be my new catchphrase.
Yeah. I love that dude. He was great. I wonder where he is. I think he moved to New York.
Good for him. I do love him. I've got a planned trip out to visit. We've got some friends out there. As soon as they open that pub of theirs, I'm gonna go.
Yes.
I'm gonna go pay them a visit. And I really I love New York in the winter. I really do.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I mean, it's fine in the summer. It's, fucking tourists everywhere. But there's something magic about that city in the winter time when it's cold and it's not slathered in tourists. And I mean, you stand outside of the bar with your pack of Marlboros. Yeah.
I love it in the fall, and I know why.
Yeah.
It's because of When Harry Met Sally.
Oh, that's gorgeous. I love that movie.
And so if and I've been there in the fall in Central Park with the leaves and like Harry Connick Jr. in my ears, and I'm like, well, yeah, this is it.
Yeah.
Where is Meg Ryan?
Well, apparently Meg Ryan is back.
Look at her books.
She's got a new movie coming out with David Duchovny as the love interest. And I tell you what, David Duchovny could be my love interest any day of the week.
I did not know that Duchovny was in that.
Yes. I found out that he's a musician, too. That he's a musician, he's an author. He's like, the movie's called What Happens Later. Yeah. Everybody playing age appropriate, it would appear. I don't know.
Oh, I see, like a May December thing.
Yeah, no. They, I believe
December
thing. Yeah, exactly. Wait, which one's
maybe a late October thing?
That's probably more accurate. But yeah, Duchovny's he's a writer. He's got a book books out. He's a fucking singer, songwriter.
Wow.
I think he's right. He's an author. I just want to make sure I'm not mixing him up with his character Hank Moody from Californication.
I don't know. Maybe not.
Which is entirely possible. Which is one of my favorite shows ever.
I know he played piano in a movie.
Yeah.
And I remember seeing some interview with him where they shot it, and it was during COVID, and so he was in a room all alone playing piano.
Wow.
But, a lot of people play piano. So I don't know if that makes him a musician.
I can't tell.
I mean, it does. It does. Don't get me wrong. It does.
He appears to have. I can't tell. This appears to be that David Duchovny. He's written 3 books. It would appear.
God damn it!
Appears. Yeah. I'm just gonna make sure. I'm gonna look at this. I want to look at the jacket, the short skirt and the long jacket, to make sure that it's not a guy with a different the same name.
Yeah, he's got a new book, Reservoir, came out in 2022.
Yeah.
The Reservoir.
The Reservoir.
Or The Reservoir, if you prefer.
Yeah. He's a fucking
David
author,
Duchovny has published 4 novels. Holy cow! Holy cow, everybody. A modern-day dairy tale.
This is then you got to slide the baseball stat. That's just slightly outside on the inside. Again with the ribs today. It's one of my favorite things. Harry Carey, he'd be like, TV telling us, so she divorced him after he shot her in the foot. Blue said, that's outside on the 9. Just like slide it in there.
I'll tell you what, he could have hit a home run in a telephone booth.
No way to swing a bat.
I get it. My favorite one was the thing where the cameraman kept showing like a couple, and it's like, a lazy game in the middle of the summer and the Cubs and all that.
Yeah.
And he kept going to him back and forth. Then he finally came back to it and goes, oh, I get it. He's kissing her on the strikes, and she's kissing him on the balls. 2 and 3 coming up here, 2 on, 2 out.
Oh, Harry Carey, rest in peace. What fucking brilliant.
Bucky fucking Dent is another book he wrote.
That's actually a movie,
I bet I
too,
know what that's
apparently. About. You do?
Hi, everybody. Bucky Dent. Isn't he the guy that missed the ground ball in New York Yankees or something like that?
Okay.
He was a player. He's a baseball player.
That's part of it. It became a movie. They made a movie of it. And I believe that Duchovny is in it and directed it.
Wow.
And it follows Ted, who moves in with his father, Marty, when he develops a fatal illness. Bad sentence, because I don't know if Ted or Marty got the fatal illness. To keep him happy, Ted enlists Marty's grief counselor, Mariana, and friends to fake a Red Sox winning streak.
Oh, wow.
Pamela Adlon is in that as well. Fuck yeah.
It's that could use some trimming on that log line.
I just was like, I don't like this sentence because I don't know who's dying. So once again, you're in a room with 2 writers. We have opinions on how you write things. If I'm confused, you've written it wrong. Although I had a conversation with somebody recently about making up words. Like, as long as, I can't remember what the word was. It was flatulism or something like that. It's like... Oh,
the art of farting?
The art of farting.
Sure.
Yeah. And they were like, that's not a word. I said, I don't care. If I know what you mean, then it counts. Where do you stand on this?
Well, let me tell you where I stand on words being made up. You ready?
All words are made up.
They're all made up.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, they're all made up. And I think that, first of all, I think I've mentioned on this show before, if you love English language, if you love language at all, go get English and the Mother Tongue.
Ooh.
The Mother Tongue. It is one of the best books I've ever read about anything having to do with language. And it basically traces how we get to English from so many other languages in the world. And how we get to Americanized English, like sort of nouveau English, I believe is how they put it. So from the oldie English, which, by the way, in college, I had to take a class that was Old English. Mm-hmm. So it was like basically Chaucer. Like most of it was Chaucer.
Yeah.
But it was amazing reading an English book and I have no fucking idea what that paragraph just said that I read. I know 3 of those words. but a few of them I wasn't sure about.
I did the same thing. I did a Middle English class as well. We did Beowulf and Chaucer and all that kind of great shit, and read it in Middle English, and it is a lot. It's a whole other language,
especially like with the S's and the F's because of the printing press stuff, and like when you're reading it, you know. Yeah. But like one of the points that book makes, which is I think instructive for everything here. Not everything in the world, but everything in this conversation, is that words become usable the more used they are. And so they become more accepted in society the more that they're used. So like language actually moves forward only with usage, not by a dictionary, not by a professor, not by a writer, but like even with a writer, the reason why a lot of Shakespeare words ended up becoming, or phrases or idioms became used, is because people were sort of reciting them back and forth, you know, as sort of like, oh, I just saw this play, and isn't this a fun little thing? And then they would use it to be cool, they like, you know, turn a phrase themselves. Yeah. And so the more that people use it, the more that it becomes ingrained in a colloquialism, and then it becomes in cultural usage. And so I just love that the fact that words become accepted because enough people use them. Yeah. It's like, it's the most democratic thing there is.
Yeah, yeah. So for those of you getting grumpy at the word bay being in the English dictionary as regards to your sweet thing, your boo, your lover, carry on.
Although there's a flip side to this.
Okay.
So it used to be that common usage, I think, is what like Strunk and White basically defines it as. Oh, here we get into my like writer. So are you using Chicago or using AP style guide? Which one? But basically, common usage used to be between correspondence and then you know, communication. So between people on the street, between people in cafes, and that sort of thing. So not things that were recited. Okay. So not like something that would be written in a play or something you saw in like a general thing. That's different. But common usage basically had to do with talking to each other, and then also correspondence talking to each other. So letter writing, that sort of thing. There would also be, you could actually put in a little bit of like editorializing. So like something in a newspaper that wasn't written as an article, but like an editorial, that would also be that. And so what their point of view was that the idea of common usage, like reaching into the culture, had no economic barrier. So someone in deep South Mississippi who wasn't necessarily as learned as somebody from northern Boston, they could still use these words and make those words, or a whole different set of words, but in their colloquial usage, it would become, you know, an accepted usage, an accepted word. However, these new words that get added into the dictionary have to do a lot with social media. And so social media is used as a barometer of common usage, and it shouldn't be. It actually is a very small part of society. Yeah. Like if you take all of social media, all of the users, daily users, all the rest of it, at the end of it all, it's a very small percentage of society at whole. You take out the kids, right? You take out the elderly. You take out like a whole bunch of people who are like sort of professionals or paraprofessionals that aren't really involved in social media. They may peek at Instagram or something like that, but they're not creating memes and posts and things like that, creator economy shit. And so there is an argument that I've heard from an English professor that is this common usage, what would you call it? I guess the hurdle of common usage isn't being met because social media is sort of exacerbating that. Because you know, Black Twitter uses bae, and then other people jump on it and they're like, oh, my bae, and then that becomes a meme, and they're like, oh, well, this is just sort of common usage. Yeah. But it isn't. It's really common usage for like internet people.
Did you really have to slap the one example that I gave down like that? I was reaching for the rim. I was reaching for the rim for the win, and there it is.
For the win! By the way, there was this guy Andrewski on TikTok. I love this guy.
Yeah.
And this is a great example of this, by the way. So he goes, Tuesday was Giving Tuesday, where you give to your favorite charity.
I posted
and all that sort of
the ones I gave to. Yeah.
And so a bunch of people are wishing, saying that to him and all that. And he's like, my ass, because I'm so, perennially on the internet, was thinking, oh, it's Giving Tuesday.
Wow.
You're really Giving Tuesday, and you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Tuesday is that. And so I was like, holy shit, I didn't even think of it that way.
I didn't even think of that either way.
I was like, oh my God, you're right though. Like when you hear it that way,
if
you're like, oh, you're giving, you're Giving Tuesday vibes,
Yeah.
And so I just thought that was hilarious. But that's a great example of something that is like so. If you're on the internet a lot, you know what the hell I mean by that. If you're not, you'd be like, I have no idea what he's talking about.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
I wonder if it's the same way everywhere in the world. Of course, there's different, demographics and everything in like Europe and Africa and different places. But I mean, I know a lot of meme culture passes through a bunch of different countries and regions.
Yeah. I feel like, okay, so every time like we go on this, I just kind of let you go because you're constantly, ankle, I'm waist, neck deep in all this shit. And I feel like people who listen to this are just like ball deep. They're just like, listen to it and they're like, oh, Stu's just like taking fucking classes on shit from Michael, and we just happen to be flies on the wall and listen to him getting a schooling.
No, I read all my notes from Stu. Stu actually sends me the notes before we do this. Tell them about English in the mother tongue. It's not me.
Yeah, it's
not
true.
me. I'm making it all up.
I am the great and powerful Oz. I am to pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
But the reason why I maybe know all this useless information
because you write all the
because
fucking time.
I'm writing and reading, and
you're a fan of that shit. Yeah, you're a fan of it.
I am.
I don't. I mean, like that's a like I love one of my favorite things
I
in the world.
consume media.
Yeah, and it's a thing that you love to do, right? You enjoy it most of the time, right?
Do I? Yes. Yeah. Okay. This is a great point here. Like I was having this conversation with a mutual friend of ours. Like, would you be like, so that whole? Would you take $1 million to go live in this cabin, but you have no internet or TV? And
it depends on the time.
Yeah, it'd be like, yes, of course I would.
Yeah.
But I can't say honestly that I would feel comfortable being disconnected from culture.
Yeah.
Good or bad.
Yeah.
I'm not that guy. I'm not that guy that's like, it's just me and my books.
Oh, I could totally do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that honestly, if I'm honest with myself, I mean, I could do it. I absolutely could.
But we've all stayed in those vacations.
I would probably go and write books.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Finally.
We've all been in those vacation like, condos or cabins or whatever. Where you go up to at least Colorado, kids. I'm sure, anywhere where there's like a mountain town where you're like, we're going to go rent a cabin for the weekend. The beginning of every fucking horror movie ever. There is, there's like, there's no internet, there's no TV. There's probably an old tube TV with a VHS attached to it and 7 movies, and all of them are Air Force One. And there's like,
get off of my plane.
Get off my plane. And then there's some, like Louis L'Amour, Westerns. And on the bookshelf, there's probably a couple dozen Harlequin romance up there, and maybe an Ian Fleming book if you're lucky. And then there's the gaming cabinet, which has every, major,
Risk.
has Risk, and all of them are missing 2 to 7 pieces.
Yes.
So
There's
we've
no
all been there. And
in the Monopoly.
There's Park Place. You're fucked. There's just we've all been on that vacation where you have to go somewhere and you have to figure out how to amuse yourself. And you're like, God, like, why do I feel so? After a while, you get acclimated to it, and you're just like, okay, this is what I do, just like anything, But there's something to be said for being disconnected from, culture is one thing, but also, being that disconnected from medicine and, any type of, care. And part of our social dynamic these days is whether you like it or not is on the interwebs. So
right. No, I could do it.
Yeah,
and
of course.
I think I would. I mean, I would definitely get along, and I'd be just fine with it.
For how long?
But I like media. Like, I love new movies. Like, I constantly get in arguments about rewatching. I know you're a rewatcher.
It depends.
You're a rewatcher.
It just requires some time, and it depends on what I'm going through at that. If there's some struggle in my life, absolutely, I am rewatching because it's comfortable and it's easy and it lowers my anxiety because I know how the fuck it's going to end, right? But I just rewatched a couple movies the other day that I hadn't watched in 10 years, and I forgot half of them because I have, terrible memory retention. But for the most part, if I'm sitting down, say I'm like meeting up with a lady for the first time, and we're, having our first home date. All right, man. Come on now. That
was my best Travis Kelce.
What is it, me?
All right,
now. It's, I want to watch something neither one of us have seen, because the experience of enjoying something like that, at some point when you're in a relationship, you're like, let me show you my favorite movie of all time, and it's animated, and then they leave you.
Can't believe it's Bambi.
Well, you know what? I want to feel all the feelings in one 76-minute sitting. I actually don't know how long Bambi is, so let's take a look here.
My favorite Disney movie is the one where they shoot the elephant. Is it Dumbo? No, they don't shoot the elephant. Are you kidding me? That's a horrible movie.
Let's see. Did you know they made a sequel to Bambi straight to DVD in 2006? You're welcome.
Is it called?
It's an hour and 9 minutes. It's 69 minutes. Hello.
Hey.
But there's a Bambi 2 Electric Boogaloo came out in 2006.
Nice.
Anyway, but yeah, I find all that fascinating.
The hard years. Bambi grew up without a mom and hit the pole.
Oh, no.
Oh, shit. I hope I didn't ruin the movie for everyone.
It happens within the first 20 minutes, doesn't it? I can't remember. It's been so long. Sometimes I like to stop the movie before it hits. I'm like, yep, those deer are having a great life. Night, everyone.
By the way, if you are interested in that life, and going into the wilderness and getting away from every damn thing and like making a go of it on your own. And by the way, if you're interested in just watching that, if you smoke pot, okay, so there's if you're a human,
if you're a person,
find this on PBS. You can go ahead and Google this. It's called Alone in the Wilderness with Dick Pronecki. It's Proenneke.
His name is my favorite name ever.
Okay. Dude retired at 50.
Oh, I love him so much.
In 1967.
Oh, yeah.
And decided to go to Twin Lakes. I believe it's in Alaska. And he built his own cabin and everything, but he shot a whole movie about it. He ended up living there for 30 years. But, you watch him.
Yeah.
Dude, he makes this spoon, this wooden spoon. I was enthralled. Enthralled, I tell you. But, this guy, and by the way, 1967, a 50-year-old 1967 totally looks like your grandpa. Like, he looks 80 years old. You're like, this dude should not be alone up there without health care. Like, and there's like a seaplane that comes in every month or something. But he's, fucking around with the animals. He's got, a fridge in the ground. Anyway, it is amazing to watch. And more so, it's also amazing to watch because you watch it and you're like, yeah, I don't think I could do that. I could make a go of it. But I mean, dude just goes up, builds his own cabin.
Yeah.
And then builds all the things in it.
Oh, wow.
And then builds a life around it. Yeah, it's amazing. It's called Alone in the Wilderness. And the other thing is that it's really well shot. Like, he puts cameras in certain places, and for 1967,
and he shot it himself, right?
He was all alone.
Yeah. Alone in the Wilderness.
Alone in the Wilderness. He finished The Cabin the next summer. And I mean, we're talking about like, snowstorms where like he has to use snowshoes just to get down to the lake. Crazy shit. But anyway.
Yeah. It came out in 2004. It's 57 minutes. You can watch it in one sitting.
It's so good.
Dick Pernecki.
Seriously, go see it. Like,
there's a book about it too.
Find it and hang out with it for a minute. If you just turn it on, I'm telling you, this is one of those things that when you're like, what the hell is this? And then once you're just sitting in it for a little bit, you're like, how is he going to do this? And like, what's he? And then there's a voiceover. He has a voiceover on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think it was finished by his son or something years later. But it's kind of amazing to watch. So here's what's amazing about this is that I was talking to somebody who had seen this, and they're like, "Wow, do you think like he just got rid of all media and got rid of all that and just living the life?" And I was like, "Okay, but he also shot a fucking movie."
Yeah, he did.
He did media. He was a content creator.
Yeah.
Alone in the Wilderness.
And
now,
when
he wouldn't see the fruits of it.
Yeah,
probably for a long time.
But in 19, so it's shot in 19. It was shot in 1968. It looks like it was
shot
the thing
over a few years, like 67,
over years. Yeah,
like that,
it's
and it's in gorgeous color.
Yeah, and that doesn't look like that was actually released until 2004. Somebody must have found the footage.
Yeah, I think it was his son.
Put it together. Wow.
Or his grandson or something like that. But of course, I caught it on PBS. But I spread this gospel all the time to people who want to go live in the wilderness.
Yeah.
The thing is, growing up in Colorado, this is always the thing.
Yeah.
Like, okay, at some point you're going to get a cabin and check out and go off the grid. And, that's just always been the thing. And like growing up here, I knew people that build houses out of old, beer bottles and tires and concrete and whatever was around. And like, oh my God, this is your house?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is my house. And, and so, but I also knew that I was like, yeah, that ain't for me. Like, I'm fine with doing that, but like, I think forever, no.
Yeah.
No, I love new shit. And I think since my brain thing, the other thing that changed about me, I mean, I rewatch things every now and then, but since my brain thing and a lot of things that happened in my life over those 2 years, losing a lot of people who were very close to me, I'm not about looking back. I'm just always about the newest thing I want. I didn't want to miss out. Like when I was in the hospital, I would always think about like, oh, this thing is coming out like in a month or two.
Yeah. And
I should not have been able to see it.
Yeah.
And so when I got out and I could see it, it was the night I got out of the hospital, of the NICU, of NICU, it was the Orville.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So I got into the Orville, and I was like, I've wanted to see this. I knew it was coming, and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things where I'm just like, I want the newest, latest thing. I want to see the newest, latest thing. Yeah.
Which I totally understand that. I totally
partially
get that, too.
As a storyteller, too. I want to see how people are doing it. And
I'd like to point out that I don't... If I'm like energized and I'm in the mood to do something, I'm seeking new experiences and new adventures. It's when I'm winding down at night and I'm getting ready to relax, I will watch something that is very little investment for me because I've already seen
absolutely, yes.
And I will read a book and go to bed. But during the day, or if I'm on if I'm on a date or if I'm on out with friends or something like that, I'm looking for something to do.
Or an evening of
an evening of things, if you will. I'm looking to have a new experience. This is not the rewatch is never a thing that's done to like if I have the opportunity, if I have the option and I'm like, I would really like to do something different or like to watch something I've already watched, I want to go do something different. It's those moments where I'm like, I just want to shut down and not think, because you and I spend a lot of time thinking about shit throughout the day. If I do a 10-hour studio session, my brain does not want to worry about whether Dick Pernecki is going to build his cabin or not.
Oh man,
and boy, does he ever!
I'm with you though. Like I do the same thing at night. I'll go on long stretches of I will watch the Ricky Gervais podcast. from
yes.
back in the day and listen. And when I say watch, it's on.
Yeah,
and I'm trying to fall asleep. Or comedy, like so John Mulaney, or you know, just like last night I watched Jeselnik. And so like I'll watch comedy over and over and over, and the same thing with like Archer and Futurama. I'll just put it on, and then it just washes over me. Yeah. And then every now and then I'll hear a line, you know, they're like, I know, he's adorable. And then I'll just go, and then I fall asleep. Or like, good news, it's a suppository, you know, then I'm like, I fall asleep.
Speaking of Gervais, did you know that Carl Pilkington has his own TV show or movie called Sick of It? Oh, it's a show, sorry, that he wrote, stars in, and directed.
And that's new?
I just got sent it by a friend the other day. Shout out to my buddy Chris for sending it to me, because you know we always loved you know, on the Gervais show. You know, Carl, the amount they pick on Carl brings us so much joy. Sure. But yeah, he's got this show called Sick of It that ran from 2018 to 2020. It's a tragic comedy following a middle-aged taxi driver.
Oh, wow.
And the voice inside his head as he attempts to move on from his ex-girlfriend.
Right.
And care for his auntie. Right. So yeah, that's something Carl Pilkington wrote.
I loved his travel show.
Oh, yeah, the one where they forced him to go places he didn't want to go.
The one in India was fantastic. Like, all of them were great. And I mean, I know that they played it up.
Yeah, of course they did. But I think
it was, the travel show was fantastic.
You know, that's the thing where, like, I feel like the new adventure piece of me, I do like to go new places and see new things. Right? I mean, and I've been very, very, very lax on that over the last few years, you know, due to, you know,
well,
just due to life. Just due to life, you know, even before, you know, the pandemic that shall not be named, the Voldemort of world events. You know, I was not, and I've actually already got on the books some travel plans for 2024 that I'm very, very excited about. You know, one of my favorite shows is Ewan McGregor's Long Way series, where they go around the world on motorcycles, and it's just like, I love that shit. And I Charlie Boorman, yeah, I love
Charlie
it.
Boorman.
I'm actually just picked up his book about his coming back from his last really serious motorcycle accident, and Charlie Boorman's. I'm sorry, I formed an incorrect sentence there where you didn't know who I was talking about. But
you're jangling a participle there.
You're jangling a participle, past part of nipple.
Long as you wear a skirt, no one will know.
Well, that's what they call it, a kilt where I'm from.
Hey.
But like the idea is like, yes, I want to, but I also love to read new books, and I love to go on new adventures, and you know, and explore new things, and you know, so the safety piece of rewatching is one thing, you know. It's the same reason why on tour we'd always go to Starbucks, because Starbucks was always the same. It was nice to have something that you're like, and that works.
Amen.
Yeah, so
I'm dying to travel a lot more, but I got to tell you, every time I'm on Google Flights or whatever, and I'm like kind of okay, I'm circling in on what we're gonna do, where we're gonna go.
Yeah.
I'll switch over to Twitter, or whatever the fuck they call it now, and I'll see one of these goddamn airline videos.
Mm-hmm.
Some crazy person standing up, that motherfucker is not real. All of that stuff. Or the guy that just opened the door and got on the wing. He opened the door, dude, on a plane. Or people just, you know, losing it, just screaming the Karens. And I'm like, I close the Google Flights window. I'm just like, well, I guess maybe not right now.
Let me ask you this question. Because you have had the brain injury you have, why are you letting the fear of that shit get in the way of your adventures?
Oh, it's not a fear.
What is it?
It's that I don't want to spend money on having my trip wasted or ruined, having flights canceled and hotels overbooked. And like, you know, it's just different. I want as much of a sure thing when I go travel now.
Yeah.
Whereas like, you know, in your 20s, you're like, okay, everything fell apart. Who cares? We have $20. We're on the beach. Who cares? Like my time is very fucking valuable.
Yeah.
The shit that I'm doing is very valuable. And so I do not want canceled flights to where I'm sleeping in an airport and everyone's like, oh, well, aren't you should be grateful. You're rich enough to have an airline ticket to fly tomorrow. Fuck you. No, I wanted to fly today to get in my hotel because I got 2 days before I go to Spain. Whatever. Like, that's the thing that gets me. I'm not fearful of it. I don't care about that kind of stuff.
I disagree.
Like,
I think
I'll get up and
you're
slap a motherfucker and be like, sit down, this is my vacation.
Then why don't you do that in those moments? In those moments where you're like, I don't want to sleep in an airport. I don't
do
that.
Now, dude.
Well, that's fair. You're not actually gonna slap some. But I think my point stands here.
Someone.
You're letting somebody else's bullshit get in the way of your fun and adventure.
Yeah, and I guess okay. So someone told me, they're like, okay, you're just seeing the one that went off the rails, right?
Yeah,
like
that's fair.
Or the few that went off the rails, maybe 2 or 3 or whatever in the week, and there are millions of flights, and hundreds of train,
millions.
So like your chances of running into that person, not very great.
Yeah, I mean, all I need to do is get to Europe, and then I can get on a train and go fucking anywhere I want.
Yeah.
Or I can get myself a nice little motorcycle and I can go there too.
Yeah. Yeah. Eurorail.
Yep.
I absolutely want to do that. So I have a friend who went to an internet friend who just went to Abu Dhabi.
Oh, wow.
And saw Foo Fighters.
Oh, how was that?
So Foo Fighters were playing for an F1 event, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so, he was like, oh, I was like, so what's it like to travel to Abu Dhabi? And I was like, is that difficult? And he was like, no, it was easy, but like to get there, it's actually very easy to get there. And the people there are very understandable that you're an American, like pretty much understandable. However, I found this interesting, and you can look this up, but he told me about it a few days ago. This just happened. And then Foo Fighters are going and basically spending all of December in Australia and New Year's and stuff. But anyway, Dave Grohl had to put a sign up that said, let me get it right here. He basically had to put a sign up that was like, no cursing.
Oh, shit.
On the stage. To remind himself not to curse on the stage because you could spend like a year in jail.
Go to fucking jail. Yeah. Well, I guess we're not going there.
Yeah, and so I was asking him, dude, and I was like, so can you drink there? Can you whatever? He's like, yeah, there are places where you can. You got to kind of know where to go and what to do. He's like, but yeah, it's changing apparently. But I don't know about that. I don't know about. I look at travel like sort of on tiers. Yeah. Like a tier 1, like tier 3. Is like basically, all of U.S., Mexico, Canada. Yeah. Throw in Hawaii there.
Who goes to Canada?
Tier 2 is like deeper Europe. Yeah. Like kind of Eastern Bloc Europe.
The maybe, jungles of Austria.
Yeah. Well, no, like Czech Republic and like getting close to war zones. Like,
yeah, gotcha.
Like Croatia. Bosnia, that kind of thing.
Was it you and I were sending photos back? Was it Croatia that has all those really fucking gorgeous beaches?
Oh my God, Croatia looks so awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Although a former CIA guy told me, if you're in Croatia, never take a favor from anyone.
Ooh.
Because both sides, the U.S. and the Russians, are trying to actively recruit people.
Ooh.
So they get you by like, hey, let me help you out with finding a place to live. Oh, no, take the first month. It's free on me. By the way, it comes with a scooter. And before you know it, you're like $10,000 into them.
Yeah.
And then they're like, okay, here's the thing.
Here's how you're going to pay us back. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, oh, my God, really? He's like, yeah, it's great. Just do not take favors from anyone. Go with a bunch of money. Have the money. But then there's like tier 1. And I see that as like Middle East, like sort of Korea and like South Korea and Japan.
Yeah.
Like shit to where like I can't make out the language.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cyrillic, that kind of like if I can't make out the language in the like sort of rough romantic language terms, then then that's kind of a different tier.
Ah, well.
Does that make sense?
All the travel I've done over the last 10 years has been work related. So I've gone to like, been on tour. I ended up in Mexico, Costa Rica, Jamaica, and a variety of other places just because, got a gig down there, in those areas. You're still on the, I've got, some friends who go and do these resort trips, you have to pay for your flight, but once you get there, everything is included. You just have to play for 2 to 4 hours a day, or you play 2 hours twice a day. And I guess I'm just kind of over it. If I'm going to go on a fucking trip somewhere and enjoy myself, I don't want anybody telling me when I have to be somewhere to do something.
At all.
I'm at that point where I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. I mean, I might do it once a year if I want to, but no. If I'm going to travel to Mexico and I'm on a resort, I want to have paid for it and I want to enjoy everything and not be on anybody else's schedule but mine.
Yeah, I agree.
So,
I agree.
This is me rebelling against decades of abusive tour managers. Get on the bus.
Also, the other thing that I've been looking at is that, like, because it's been so long since I've sort of traveled widely, to Europe and different places like that, I do look at, like, the weather stuff. I had some friends, like, we talked about it earlier this year, that went to Lisbon and went to Portugal, went to Spain, and it was, like, right around these heat waves and floods.
Ooh, yeah, yeah.
And so I'm a little bit, it's not concerned, but you got to keep an eye out for that shit right now.
Yeah.
And not that I'm afraid of weather. Like if I go to Scotland, I hope it's raining.
Yeah.
I hope it's a little chilly in Ireland.
Yeah. It better be.
But there's people that just went to Iceland that are like, oh shit, okay, well we can't stay here anymore. We have to leave. Because of volcanoes and highways breaking up and stuff. Yeah. And I will tell you, I have found the perfect trip.
Okay.
Because I wanted to go.
Oh wait, do you want to give it away to people, or do you want to keep it to yourself so nobody fucking takes it from you?
No, I'm going to give it away to people because hopefully we'll get it sponsored. It is. I want to do one of those Viking riverboat trips. I don't give a fuck about cruises. Okay, not at all. Not interested at all. Maybe a rock cruise, whatever. But like the Rhine, there's one like Amsterdam. Down and it goes like near Paris or to Basel, or there's also one that goes over to like Budapest and things like that. Did you hear that, Budapest?
I did. I heard that. I'm still angry at you for your.
I'm just saying, like this. It's a slow boat to nowhere.
Yeah.
There are older people on it.
Please tell me
to hang out with some older people.
No, fantastic.
And talk to them. Yes, absolutely.
Everybody has to take a turn on the oars down in the cellar.
Drink some Riesling with them and be, oh yeah. Is that what happened in the Second War? And that kind of shit. And like, do I know how to play mahjong? Are you kidding me? That kind of stuff. Absolutely.
Yeah. Fantastic.
But like, not too many people. It stops every night. It's not crazy. They all have balconies, and they go on little walking trips for like chocolates and go see churches and
fantastic.
Oh, dude.
Yeah. You just travel. Yeah.
I'm going to buy some New Balance.
Should I start calling you Rand?
Check my New Balance kicks out.
Yeah.
What's up, Harold?
Yeah, Harold. Did you ever audition to play on cruise liners at all?
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
I got one.
Yeah, I did too, but then I didn't go do it because I didn't want to. And then after a series of amount of time, I realized I don't like boats like that.
I
don't like boats like that. The idea being, I don't mind like a sunset cruise or something that's moving in a reasonable place. But the thought of going on a giant cruise liner, the ones I see with a roller coaster hanging off the side of it, and I'm like, fuck that. No, thank you. That looks terrible to me.
Yeah, and I've known people that are cruisers that love them, that love those. My aunt, she was on one where the boat rolled over.
Oh, Jesus.
And you know what they do? They give you a free cruise. That's like getting a steak and it has spit on it, and they're like, let us make you another one. I'm like, no, I don't want any food from you.
Yeah, ever.
I'm done with cruises now. Like, you allowed the boat to roll. It was a huge storm. It was a huge thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, no, fuck that. And the other thing is that like it's the disembarkment and getting there and they're like 4 hours and waiting and they lose your luggage and they always hit you with tips and extra money. And no, I auditioned for I believe it was Princess. And I got it.
Yeah.
And I think it was going to be like $2,000 a week.
Yeah.
And so it was like
That's
really good money at the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is going to be fantastic. And I was down in the Caribbean. And so I had to go to rehearsals. So we go to rehearsals and with this huge group of people that's going to be like the show band. Yeah. And I was going to be a singer and play some guitar, but mostly singing.
Yeah.
And then they wanted me to do like a specialized, like sort of torch song set. Like if there was going to be an off night or whatever, I would do a few songs or whatever.
Yeah.
So go and do the rehearsals, going through them for like a week or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And then a big influx of people came into rehearsal and we were like, oh, hey, how are you guys doing? And they're like, yeah, we're from the last ship that we were just on the ship and everything. Oh, cool. So we were all like, oh my God, so you're doing what we were about, what you were just doing what we're about to do.
Yes.
So we all go out to like dinner and it is horror story after horror story.
No.
Like where they put you is in the bottom of the bows. Like sewage is by where you are. There was a singer that she was like, I kind of lost my voice because there was this putrid smell all night. So she was like, I couldn't sing for like 2 days and they wouldn't pay me. And you're stuck on the ship and you don't have credits per day. So you have a per diem. But if you screw it up, like you have no food, no drink, no nothing.
Yeah.
And so just like, it just became another horror story. And I'm like, you know what? I think I'm out.
Yeah.
I think I'm out. And yeah. And by the way, none of them got paid what they were told they were getting paid. I don't know. I'm sure it's different now. I'm sure it's just fine.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've got some good friends that have done it. You know, our friend Trevor was a drummer on a cruise forever. And he has some amazing stories and some horror stories. So, I mean, I think it's probably middling at this point. But, oh, gosh, the thought of doing that at this point in my life just does not. I've already done this shit. I don't want to fucking do it anymore.
And you're not allowed to go into a bunch of the places. Like
you have to stay on the boat.
Because you're the hired help.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that part I was like, oh, well, you get a free cruise out of it. Not really. You can basically be in the theater room, you know, the little Burger Palace or your little shitty
Burger Palace, which is all you can afford on your per diem.
Yeah, it didn't sound great.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think we've chosen wisely. I think things are going well where we are right now.
I think so.
I think so. There's tequila and tacos all around us at all times, so we're good.
That's very true.
I consider that a win.
I had tequila over there right now.
Nice. You have tequila in you right now?
No.
Oh, well,
not yet.
Then I consider that a missed opportunity.
Not yet, but soon. Oh, it's coming. Oh, he's working on a something.
He's working on it. He's leveling up for a real juicy hangover.
Did you get your Spotify Wrapped?
I did, and I did not enjoy it.
Oh, my God. It's so stupid. The Spotify, the top artist of the year. Ready for the drum roll? Ding! Taylor Swift.
I'm not shocked.
Most streamed artist. Probably getting close to all time, probably now.
Yep.
But
oh, man.
26 billion streams since January 1st.
Should we do the math on 26 billion streams?
Sure, hold on. $204 million.
I gotta turn my my phone sideways.
Yeah, you do, or you're gonna get that Eve 3B thing.
There you go. How much?
104 million. 104.
I got it at 117 million.
That's at 0.004.
That's 0.045.
Yeah,
I went high. That's what she said.
Yeah. So there you go.
There you go. That's the way I think.
That's a lot of things.
Yeah, I think one time I did the numbers for Billie Eilish and her streams when she cracked some billions. And, you know, like just did the breakdown of like, yeah, please remember that not all of that money goes to Billie Eilish. It goes, you know, it gets split amongst, you know.
Let's say it for the folks in the back. Spotify does not pay artists. Spotify pays labels and publishers, as well as some PROs.
Yeah.
And then the artists have the deals with the labels, and that's what decides how much money you're getting. And
You sound so
13 and
deflated.
18%. It's because I see this argument every day, and I'm like, you guys, there's Google.
You guys.
Oh my God, you guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's but songwriting wise, publishing wise, you take 15% of that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great.
And that's pretty good. But she has new deals in place.
Yeah.
And
depending on the label deal, you most likely don't own the master, and
I'm not going to turn this into another Taylor Swift show, but the movie is coming to streaming December for her birthday, and it's going to be for rental, probably for sale.
It's going to be fucking huge numbers on that. It's going to be insane.
I think she did. What was the box office on the movie?
The Eras Tour movie?
Yeah, because I think it was something like 250 million, I think she's done.
Well, let's see. I'm on IMDb right now.
Are you? Do you have Mojo?
No, I didn't do Box Office Mojo. Opening weekend, $92,800,000 in the U.S.
Pretty good.
Gross, worldwide gross, $250 million.
Okay, yeah, 250. Yeah, I mean 250, and she self-distributed it.
Yeah.
So she gets a far bigger cut.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So now for Christmas, it's going to be streaming. She's going to make the money on that. So you can watch the tour that you went and saw on the tour and that you saw in the theater. And
by the way, 180 million of that was domestic, right? So most of that is the United States.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That's bananas.
I think that had to do with distribution on where it was worldwide.
Yeah, maybe. Well, UK's
because
next,
now
then
she's
Australia.
going on the global side. She just did South America.
Yeah.
She'll be doing Europe, and so then she'll release that in South America.
Europe. But I was reading.
Here's what I hear. This is the reason why I wanted to bring this up.
Yeah.
So it's going to do the run through Christmas probably to try to get any Swifties to buy it, on Comcast or whatever, to stream it or to rent it. But I hear that there is a bidding war going on between Apple TV and Netflix, and that one of the deals on the table, is Netflix is basically saying, if you bring it to us, we'll give you $20 million for everything that is base minimum for everything you do with us for the next 5 years.
Wow.
And you get it back. So Eras goes on Netflix, 20 million at least. Then just depends on what the box office numbers end up being, what the streaming numbers end up being. But 20 million base. And then next year, if you do another movie, and next year, if you do another movie, and next year, she could have that deal. Yeah. Apple wants to basically just, straight off take the movie. But Netflix wants to lock her into anything she releases for 5 years because they think they can get 10 million new subscribers.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do the math on that.
Which is $100 million.
$100 million, yeah. That's the
not
base
net, but in revenue at least.
That's base price.
Yeah, base. So if the numbers go higher, she could end up getting 40 or 50 million. But it would make sense for Netflix to do it. It's a crazy deal. But it would make sense because the Swifties would watch it all the time, and then the next one, they would keep the subscription knowing that the next thing she does in 2 years. Because there's going to be a reputation thing that happens eventually. Yeah. But it's I was like, that's quite a deal.
Yeah,
that's quite a deal. Which, it's hilarious though. She's made something well over $1 billion this year on this thing on Eras, and so and she will continue to as she does the re-records. So. But so it's 20 million. Her team must be like, okay, that's a nice starting point.
That's
what it's doing is it's putting pressure on Apple.
Oh yeah.
Because Apple wants a documentary. Documentary.
Yeah. That's a good point. That's a good point.
But I don't know how many. I don't know if it would drive that many subs You know, I mean, I don't know. Wherever she goes, people follow. So
the thing I like about this discussion is, especially for if you are an artist and you get, I mean, we've both been handed not $20 million deals, but deals that immediately on the surface look like one thing, but if you play it out over a period of time, you're like, that's not really worth it. So, I mean, the thing I like about conversations like this is I don't. As much as I love existing in the moment and being present in the present, that's why it's called the present, because it's a gift. Just shoot me now. I'm just kidding. He just threw up all over his microphone. You know, you want to think about, you know, like the future too. Like think 5 years, 10 years down the road if you're a musician. I think I told you I was having I got a call from a friend of mine in Nashville, and he wanted to ask me about a band that I'd produced earlier this year, or maybe late last year. He's like, I really like this song. I've got somebody that's interested in working it and licensing it and, you know, placing it somewhere. Do they have their shit together? And I had to say no.
No.
And it's not because I didn't say, join a PRO, fill out a split sheet. I'm banging on things vehemently with the, you know, just bare bones. Give me a split sheet. Get it registered with BMI that's now owned by, never mind. You know, just do the bare bones stuff so that they know you've got your shit together and you can actually, you know, maybe do something with this song. I even then went back to the band a year later and said, hey, get your shit together. I got this guy over here. And guess what? I'm going to let you guess. I can already tell by the look on your face, you know exactly what the response is here, which is they didn't do a fucking thing.
Oh, we'll get to that.
They just, you know, yeah, we'll get to it. And it's like, no, just do it now. Do it now. Do it now, then you don't have to do it later. And once you start getting used to doing that consistently, then it's already taken care of. It's already taken care of. It just happens. You just do it. It takes like 3 minutes.
It's just amazing to me. I've always kind of said that there's like 3 things that every artist, band, whatever you call yourself.
It took us an hour to get to music business, but I'm really proud of us, by the way.
Must actually do. One, you have to have all of your files. And that means separated vocals, instrumentals, as well as the master of the singles and all of that.
Yeah.
You must do that every time you record. You just have to have that, right? And along with that comes lyrics and tempo and all the rest of the kind of crap that you need for that. But that's the minimum there. That's on the master side.
Yeah.
You must have your songs registered in a PRO. You don't necessarily need to do a copyright registration, but you have to have that side, right?
Bare minimum, yeah.
And then the third one is an LLC for me to write you $1 million check.
Yep.
If you don't have those things, that there is no $1 million check.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it won't be $1 million. And you'll just never get there. Every single producer or artist I've dealt with big deals on that finally get them over the finish line, those are the 3 things. There are 100 other things you probably need to make that deal more available to you. Yeah. But to actually get one of the things that you want, a brand activation, a co-licensing thing with a label, a publishing deal, sync, those are the 3 things you need.
That's it.
How do you get those 3 things into play, and you can't have one without the other. Yeah. Like if you don't have an LLC for me to write you a check to, I'm telling you, there was a guy at Warner that there was a guy that was getting into a deal at Warner, and he was like, I won't fucking do a business. I'm not going to do an LLC because I don't believe in corporations. And Warner's like, I am not writing you a fucking check. Yeah. Not writing you a check. We need to have a deal with a company. Yeah. Because there's ownership involved. If you die, that means it goes away with you. If you die and there's an LLC, I get a piece. Like there's, it's
it's the same reason that when I'm working with a music, if I hire a musician for an event, my company does a deal with their company to hire them for their skills. I don't hire the individual. I hire their company to provide me with a drummer, guitar player, Zydeco expert, clarinetist. Right? Yeah, you're welcome.
Not to mention, you're fucked on your own taxes if you don't do it right.
just give yourself some protection.
Oh my God. So yes, those three things.
Those three things
is what you need. Separated master files.
Yeah.
Register your songs with the PRO. But there's a lot of, avenues you have to reach before you get to that. You got to be working with a producer and know how to output those things. You got to be signed up with one of the PROs and know what the fuck you're doing there. I get it. And you got to, have $50 in a bank account to do an LLC.
That's pretty much it. And then, I mean, with the LLC, there's a couple other conversations,
absolutely.
And depending on what state you live in, the cost of the LLC, forming the LLC, can be a little silly
or country.
Sometimes.
Yes.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, it might be an LLP or an LTD.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, we'll see ourselves out.
Yeah, totally.
Thank
you, folks. Good night.
Yeah, well, see you later. Let's.
There's your music business minute.
Yeah, it's your music. Okay, go fuck yourself. There's some music business. Shall we sync?
Sing
Sync
of the week.
And week is spelled WEAK this week.
Oh,
I'm just kidding.
It's a poor week.
It's no. I mean, well, I mean, we are in that what Doug Benson lovingly calls the holiday taint, that spot between Thanksgiving and Christmas. I think actually he usually refers to that as between Christmas and New Year's. But
very classy.
I love the term holiday taint. It's not Christmas. It's not Thanksgiving.
I love that week between Christmas and New Year's.
Oh, me too.
I love it. It is the Twilight Zone. No one knows what they're doing. No one knows where they are, what day it is.
No one knows.
You just,
Yeah. So you can't help it. You have to sing that riff. Congratulations to Josh Homme on being cancer-free. Well done.
Yes.
Yeah,
very
anyway.
nice.
Do you want to go first?
Way to get rid of that bitch. Oh, stop it. Okay. If Josh is listening, he understood that.
Yeah, but everybody else is furious at you.
We love her kids. Okay.
You go first. Shit. You're in big trouble now.
I am totally in big trouble.
You're always in big trouble. I love it.
Oh, the
take a risk. Take a fucking chance.
A Capricorn gave their life for you. Okay. All right. Here we go.
I'm a Capricorn. How dare you?
Of the week. Yeah, I know, but you wouldn't. Your brand. You know what your brand is?
Selfishness.
That's right. Thank you. Okay. Moving on.
I'm dying a little inside.
You should. Astrology's not real except when it is. All right, sync of the week. I'll go first, Stu. While you're over there selfishly laughing at Capricorns. But the Cancer will take the lead here and then also make sure everyone knows about it like a fucking martyr. All right, Michael's sync of the week.
I'll be over here.
I'm over there on the old HBO. On the Max.
Mm-hmm. Don't call it that. Don't
on
call
the
it
HBO.
That. Yeah, thank you.
Hubba. Anyway,
Hubba.
Julia is back.
Ooh.
About Julia Child. Just shouting for me.
Love
Season
her.
2 is out. David Hyde Pierce is in this as well.
Excellent.
I don't want that to go unseen. Season 2, episode 3. There is a song when they arrive back in Paris. They get back in Paris, and by the way, if you like Julia Child, if you like, I don't know, 60s kind of shows that run a little bit different, it's just a delight to watch.
I love it.
Beautifully shot. It's a little emotional, and
good.
it's
it.
but it's something that's like sort of behind the scenes of a legend and like what actually happened with her show, with her life, with the amazing people she met and touched her, and touching me, touching
how
you.
dare you. How dare you.
But here it is. The sync is The Poor People of Paris by Les Baxter. I think it's actually Les Baxter.
Oops.
But it's The Poor People of Paris, and it is a fantastic song and fantastic music supervision by Jonathan Leahy.
Very nice.
It always amazes me to be able to pull like older songs that match the scene of the time. I've never had the honor to do music supervision like that, and so I'm always floored when they do it right. So Julia season 2 is out, HBO Max, wherever you get that, and The Poor People of Paris. Music supervisor Jonathan Leahy.
Well done.
Oh, thank you so much, Stu.
No, mine is pretty dumb.
Mine.
And in that I'm a nerd. I like my superhero movies, and I am gleefully consuming every movie that's contributing to the demise of the DC extended universe. And so I recently
I'm enough of a geek to know that that's a thing.
Yes, I enjoyed the Blue Beetle film.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a deep dive.
No, it's a deep dive for anybody who hasn't read those comic books. But it was a big budget action spectacular. George Lopez is in it, and he's fucking great in it. Everybody else is fine. It's silly. The thing I do like, anything that kind of expands on a culture that doesn't look like mine, I'm into, which is why I liked Ms. Marvel on Disney Plus, and I like that kind of vibe.
My people.
Yep. So it's I like things that this is kind of expanding on a kind of a fictional version of Hispanic culture, and it's very fun. But of course, there's a big old action montage at the end of the movie. Big old action scene, big old monstrous robot thing, blasting through a castle, shooting all the bad guys, and the song that is playing underneath all of that is "Kickstart My Heart" by fucking Motley Crue. And, the second it comes on, of course, immediately my heart rate goes up, and I'm ready to party, and I'm in. Yeah, they kicked in on the Mick Mars dive bombs in the beginning, and it just kicks in, and somebody makes an ironic comment, an aside, and they pull on the triggers, and the guns go crazy, and it's, yeah! And and you're just like, oh, I'm so fucking happy right now. So that brought me great joy. The movie is fine. It's entertaining. But that is according to the internet's Season Kent, the supervisor on that film.
Oh, very nice.
DC. I'm curious to see what happens now that James Gunn is wielding his mighty hammer for DC films. We'll see what happens. But that scene was enjoyable. As I said, the movie's fine, entertaining, big and dumb and explosive, fun cultural references. George Lopez is hilarious in it. So carry on, everyone.
Fantastic. And also, just so all of you young artists understand, Motley Crue doesn't make a dime off of that placement because they've already sold their catalog to BMG. Thank you.
That's right. Good night, everybody.
But they already made their money, so who cares?
Yep.
Yeah. I love Kickstart My Heart. It's a great song.
Me too.
Kickstart My Heart.
Yeah. Now we have to find the video of Vince Neil not singing that well, just for hilarity purposes.
It is the time of the year where they have the snow monster.
Oh, they have the Yeti, yes.
Yes, the Yeti, that Vince Neil, and you're like, fuck you guys, stop sending this to me. Every time I see it warms my heart, and I love it.
It makes me giggle, yeah.
Totally.
But Vince Neil is really upset. He's crying himself to sleep in his Porsche.
Yeah,
he is, what's the line from The Simpsons? Rainier, how do you sleep at night? On a large bed of money surrounded by beautiful women. So that's Vince Neil for you.
Rock and roll. All right, let's wrap this sucker up. Hey, everybody, make sure to check out StuMillerMusic.com. Stu Miller Music, that's 2 L's in Miller.
Yeah, 2 L's.
StuMillerMusic.com. Few sales still left. He's got some openings.
I have one spot left in the music mentorship.
Uno
right
spot, and it's a wet one.
Yeah,
He's got one left for you. Come and get it.
One wet spot.
Remember to rate and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Give us 5 stars if you can. Leave a hilarious comment on that Apple podcast. You can find us anywhere where you find people. 2 Shots Music Pod. It's really easy. 2 Shots Music Pod.
The number 2, not 2WO. The number 2.
2ShotsMusicPod@gmail.com if you want to send us ridiculous questions or comments.
Yeah. We've got a couple that are backlogged, and we'll be into those. But, right now we're still recovering from this holiday taint, which is not really a holiday taint.
Honestly, we're just talking. We really, whatever.
If you like it, cool. If you don't.
We're not even sure if this is a music podcast anymore. Not even sure.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a, modern
Sometimes it's a cat podcast. Sometimes this one was a travel one.
Yeah.
Anyway, we hope you have a fantastic week. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other.
Write a great
Jerry
song.
Springer, we love you. And also, we'll write a great song. Please write a great song. The world needs it. You need it.
Mm-hmm. I do. And so do they.
Until we talk to you next time, we love you.
Love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye.